Hello friends, in this video we will try to understand the basics of interfaces and multi-threading. So now how do we create an interface here? So now let's look at this example. So in the source package or in my project, what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click, I'm going to take new, and instead of taking Java class or Java package, we have got an option to create an interface. Okay, so when we create an interface, so it will ask us to give a default name. So now let's say I'm going to give one demo1 and give enter. So the only difference what we are going to see while creating a new class and a new interface is that in the new class we are going to have public class demo1, but here we have got public interface demo1. So now let's try to understand what exactly is the difference between a class and an interface. So interface is such a part of a Java program which is going to have abstract methods. So now the history and theory of taking this word abstract goes with the Java buzzwords what we have been learning since the starting of C++. Among the many pillars of object orientation program, one basic pillar is to understand what exactly is abstraction. Abstraction means telling what exactly this part of the code is going to do, but not telling how exactly it's going to do. For example, let's take this example from line number 11 to line number 14. So here public, so we are very clear with the access specifiers. Public because I want it to be accessed outside the package also. Fine. Now we are trying to understand what exactly is an interface, so we'll come back to this later. The name of this interface is called animal. Now animal interface is going to have all the methods related to animal, only the method declarations. So now having an interface means setting up the rules on how or what an animal can do. So here interface animal means every animal must make sound and every animal must eat. So I'll repeat, interface animal means this interface of animal is going to tell what an animal can do. That means an animal can make sound and animal can eat. It also means every animal must make sound and every animal must eat. Here I am not telling how an animal is going to sound. For example, if it is a dog, so I expect it to bark. If it is a lion, I expect it to roar. But both dog and lion or tiger or any other example is an animal. I cannot make a generalized description of how every animal will sound. Individual animal will sound differently, but we all know that every animal will make sound. So in an interface only the method declarations are going to be included, telling what this animal can do. And we also know that every animal can eat. Some animal will roam and search for food, or some animals can hunt down their prey and they eat it. But the most common thing what we can link every animal is to link it to eating concept, right? So basically what I am trying to say here is that every interface is abstracted by declaring what an animal can do or what that concept can do. Now depending upon what animal we are talking about, individual programs can implement these methods based upon their requirements. So once again, what exactly is an interface? Interface is that part of the Java code which is going to include only the constants, only the method declarations. So I'm not including any constant here since this is the very beginning class. Okay, now few things to notice here: the interface keyword and semicolon in front of the method declaration, right? So here no interface can have method definitions. Only interfaces are going to have are their declaration. The classes which are going to use these interfaces are going to implement them. Okay, now let's take an example. Here I have created a class dog and I am trying to implement animal. So now the implements is the keyword associated with the interfaces. Extends is the keyword associated with the inheritors. Okay, every class to be inherited is extended, every interface to be implemented is implemented. Okay, so now how to use interfaces? By using the keyword implements. So when we say class dog implements animal, then it means that this portion of the code is going to use this interface. That means this dog must implement all the methods found in the interface animal. So now let's see how we have done that. Class dog implements animal. So now here I am trying to define sounds. So now from where am I getting the sounds? Sounds is the same sounds which is found in this interface animal. Now since the name of the class is a dog, I am printing dog barks. Okay, so this is where my method ends. Now coming to eats. So now how does a dog eat? So this is a simple explanation purpose, right? So when we throw a biscuit, it jumps, it bounces to catch that biscuit. So that's what I'm trying to print here. Dog bounces to catch the biscuits. So now what have I done? In the class dog, I have implemented both the methods declared within the interface animal. So this is mandatory. Suppose now I don't implement one of its method. So now here, as you can see, in the dog class, I am not implementing eats. So suddenly I have this red balloon, right? It says dog is not abstract. So we'll come to this abstract thing again. And does not override the abstract method eats. That means you have not yet defined the eats method. So once you say class dog implements animal, we need to make sure that the class dog implements its methods also. See, there is a way to not to define one or two methods within the interfaces, but we'll talk about that in our future classes. So now what we have done, we have created an interface. So what do we mean by creating an interface? Just define the method, don't define it. So now who's going to define it? It's the headache of the class which is trying to implement those interface, the class which is going to use that interface. So it is that class's headache to define it. Okay, now so this is what we are trying to explain the concept here. So classes, the interface is defined here, and the class which is going to implement that interface is also created here. Now the next thing is to drive that animal, right? So now we have got a separate class to create its objects, right? So this is what we have been following from the Herbert skill textbook, and this is what the actual and the most standard way to do it. Okay, now we have got a new dog D object. So what is the dog? Dog is the class. What is D? An object to the class. What is new dog is doing here? So whatever memory is necessary to create the dog class, that memory is created and assigned it to D object. So now when I make d.sounds, d.eats, now d.sounds is going to call this method sounds, and we are going to see this message dog barks. Similarly, when eats method is created or the invoked dog bounces to catch the biscuits is displayed. Okay, this is where my program ends. So now let's run this particular code. As you can see, dog barks and dog bounces to catch the biscuits is displayed. So basically, why we use an interface? An interface is a rule set by your own code which must be followed by your successive code. See, as I have been telling since the first class, Java is all about knowing the packages, classes, methods and so on. So now this we have got a new addition. It's also about knowing the interface. So what an interface in Java is going to do? It is going to define, it's going to set the rules for you. If you want to access a computer within the network, so we have got the ready interface for that. Okay, the only thing is we need to know is what is the name of that interface and what are the methods I need to define in my classes, right? So similarly, so here we have created a interface by the name animal. In the animal interface, what we have done is we have declared the sounds and eats methods. Once we have done that, now we have created the dog class. So this dog class is going to implement the animal interface. See, interfaces are implemented, classes are extended in the inheritance concept, right? Okay, now we have defined the sounds method, eats method, and then we have created the dog object, and then we have invoked the methods sounds and eats. So this is a simple example to explain what an interface can do. An interface is going to have just what? Only the declarations. So now let's move on to another example. Now very similar to the last example, here we have another concept by the name vehicle. Okay, so here we have got public interface vehicle. So since this is going to be the interface, only the method declarations are placed here. Once we do this, only the methods are declared here, not defined. So now what are the two methods we have declared? Category and mileage. So the two main basic concepts of any vehicle. Now here I have created a class called as car. So the car class implements the vehicle. That means in the vehicle we have got two methods, that is category and mileage. So the class car must define those two methods. So now in the class car I have got the category. So what I have set? I have set the category of the class car as SUV, a simple category. And then we have got public void mileage. So now I have set the mileage as 15 kilometers per liter. So these two are defined within the class car. So now very similar to the last example, so we have got another class demo car, which is going to create the object C for car, and new car is going to create memory. C is going to be assigned that memory. So now when we call car C.category and mileage, so these two methods are called. Once we say C.category and C.mileage, SUV and 15 kilometers per liter is printed. Okay, SUV and 15 kilometers per liter is printed. So this is the basic concept of interfaces. So in our future classes of multi-threading and Java swings, what we are going to see in module 5, all these are going to use interfaces. See, the only difference between interfaces and classes is that when we say classes, it has got the method, the definitions, few other declarations and so on. If you want this present class to be used by other class, what we do? We do inheritance. So when we do inheritance, we use extends keyword. But here in the interface contains only the method declarations, which are to be defined by the class which are going to use it. Since this is going to be what the interfaces are used using the keyword called as implements. So this is the basic concept of interfaces. And now I am going to show you how we can use multiple interfaces. So now here we have got class car, it is going to implement vehicle. So now as you can see where we have this interface demo, so I have placed both these animal and vehicle within the same package. Okay, now I can make this class car to implement multiple interfaces. So now I am going to do something like this. So what have I done? I am making this class car to implement two interfaces. This vehicle interface is present in this class only, and in this animal class I have got this animal interface here. So one class can implement multiple interfaces. So now once we do that, for the vehicle interface I have defined category and mileage methods. So now for the animal interface I need to define both these methods as we have defined in both the interfaces. Now I am going to redefine them here. Now how does a car sounds? So now we need to change it a bit here, right? So now okay, so now I'm going to make this car sound like something like this. Okay, so a car rooms, fine. Okay, now this might not be the very suitable thing to say. The car eats. So now let's say I'm going to make it as either a petrol or diesel, right? Petrol or diesel, fine. So now the class car implements both vehicle and animal interfaces. So now I need to define all the methods found in the vehicle and animal. Now C dot, what should I do? I should say eats, and then C dot, what was the another method? Mileage, not the mileage, what was that? Sounds. Yes, C dot sounds. So now when I define it, when I run that, so I say car category is SUV, mileage is 15 kilometers per liter, it consumes either petrol or diesel, and it makes sounds like vroom. So now this is how we can make one class to use multiple interfaces. The thing in Java is that Java doesn't support multiple inheritance. That means Java cannot extend more than one class at a time. But what it can do is it can extend one class and it can implement another interface. This is how multiple inheritance is achieved in Java. Okay, in C++ we used to use the comma separated list in making one class to use inherit more than one classes, right? But unlike C++, in Java doesn't directly supports multiple inheritance. But what we can do is, if a class needs the support or help of more than one class, we can make one class to extend one class and implement another interface. Okay, so this is how a simple Java interfaces can be used. In the next video we will talk about multi-threading. Thank you for joining. I hope you will go through this methods. Thank you.